The RPI football team lost an early September contest at Alfred, but since it's been quite a run. The Engineers have won 5 of 6 games and sit just 1 game off the pace in the Liberty League. There's plenty of credit to spread around, but senior quarterback Jeff Avery deserves his share. The White Plains, New York native has thrown for 18 touchdowns this season against just 1 interception. He's also the team's 3rd leading rusher. Not bad for a guy who last year suffered a collapsed lung during a game and still tried to play on. And we are joined in studio by the quarterback of the Engineers and its captain, Jeff Avery. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Going into this season, what were the expectations? You're coming back from injury, and we'll talk about that in a minute. The team's been around 500 in your time with RPI. Was pursuing a conference championship something that was talked about, that was considered?
I think any competitive team in the Liberty League, their final goal is going to be the conference championship, and that certainly was our goal set out in the beginning of this season, the preseason, right after last season was over. Once we got into the off-season lifting program, that's kind of been our mantra from day one. You know, ring chasing is what we talk about, and I think we made some strides this season in getting to that point of a program where we are in consideration for that league title. But, in reality, we just our goal is kind of segmented week by week. We have a goal week 1 to beat Norwich, and week 2 was Alfred, and week 3 was MIT. So, our ultimate goal was that conference championship title, and from our perspective right now, it's not unattainable. We're still kind of in contention for it. But, like I said, our goals were segmented. We just wanted to take each team 1 week at a time, focus on the 200 feet at hand, and just move on to the next week. But all the success that we've had this season leading up to where we are right now is attributed to our mentality of last season. We had a bitter taste in our mouth because we know it could have been a whole lot different. And coming into this year, we just played with a chip on our shoulder and knew that we were a lot better of a team last year and the year before than our record showed.
Take me back to the injury that knocked you out for the second half of last season and had you recovering for months. You took off on a run. Was it a designed run?
It was a designed triple option run. Yeah, and the end crashed in, took away the dive. The second level defender took away the pitch, so I turned it upfield and cut it through the heart of their defense. And this season I've been more keen of sliding. So and last season I wasn't too familiar with it, and I took a hit from one of their backside linebackers, and he had a perfect form tackle, took me right off my feet, put his helmet right above my rib guards, and I sustained the hit and ended up breaking 2 ribs and having a pneumothorax, which is a collapsed lung. And at the time, I thought I just got the wind knocked out of me. You have all that adrenaline pumping, and the way that you're playing the game, you're just in that competitive mindset. And it was the last play of the first quarter. We switched sides of the field for the second quarter, and I'm walking down. And Coach Icerni is asking me if I'm all right, and I'm saying, yeah, I'm just short of breath. Let me catch my breath. I have my hands over my head. We run 2 more plays in the start of the second quarter, and I start to realize, my lung capacity feels like it was cut in half. Like I can't breathe right now. Something's wrong. So we got a first down. 3 plays later, we're faced with a 3rd and 4. I threw a corner route to Reggie Colas, who I'm sure you remember. Yep. And a linebacker came into the A-gap pretty clean. Right when I released the ball, he hit me in my follow-through. I fell on that side, and from that point, I just knew that I had to go over and see our trainer and see what the problem was, because I felt the bubble in my chest. I felt some shifting in there, and I knew something was wrong. So it was just a matter of going to CT, getting diagnosed, and taking it from there. And coming back, you can never really be scared to play this game. You can't have any fear out there, and I never really think about re-injuring my ribs or my lungs, because that could have easily happened on me dropping back to pass and somebody hitting me from behind, or even getting tripped up and falling on my leg. I mean, injuries happen all the time. It's the nature of the sport. So you kind of just have to compartmentalize that, know what's going to happen, but put it in the back of your mind and just play with reckless abandon, no fear out there.
How long were you in the hospital?
I was in the hospital for about 3 to 4 days. The procedure, they conducted the procedure right away, put the tube in my chest and sucked out the air pocket, and they wanted to keep me there for a couple days to make sure that my lung was restabilized, and there was no possibility of the air pocket reforming. So I was there for about 3 to 4 days, and it was pretty tough because I just had gotten out of the first half of that game. I was still sweaty and dirty from that game, and I couldn't shower. I couldn't shower with that tube in there, so I had to basically sponge bath, and it was pretty uncomfortable. I mean, it was an uncomfortable 4 days, to say the least, and that tube was pretty thick, so all the lag was kind of hanging on the broken ribs. But I was able to get out of there in 3 to 4 days, go home, recover for a week and a half, and come back and still support the team.
That first shower felt pretty good, though,
yeah,
right?
It did. It did.
You didn't start your career at RPI. You committed to Salve Regina and played there for one season. Why the decision then to transfer to RPI?
When I was a senior in high school, I was looking at schools like RPI, Muhlenberg, Franklin and Marshall, Hobart, Union, and Salve Regina, some really good academic schools in that mix. And I kind of got romanced to go into Salve Regina. It's a beautiful school right on the water in Newport, Rhode Island, and they had a head coach there, Bob Chesney, that could talk a monkey out of a tree. That was just kind of his personality. He made you want to play for him, and he made you commit to the program. Just, he was an absolutely amazing coach, and I put money that he'll be in the NFL someday. He's already at Assumption College, has that program turned around to where they're competing for the NE10 title this year, and he's a tremendous coach. But after that freshman year, that freshman season, he left to take on the job as the head coach at Assumption, and I kind of just realized, he was one of the main reasons why I wanted to come to this school. The school didn't really have the major that I wanted to pursue. It didn't really have anything but football going for me, and my parents and I made a big decision that summer. Football aside, I wanted to be in a place that's going to benefit my future. What are these 4 years going to pay off? And we came up with a list of a couple schools I would apply to that have a little bit more of an academic rigor, a little bit more of academic reputation that Salve had, and RPI ended up being the choice.
And of course, you knew of RPI very well because your brother played there, went to school there, got the degree from RPI. How much of an influence was that?
That was a big influence as well. I mean, knowing the area very well, my family being very familiar with the school, the area. We actually have family that lives in Malta here, so it just seemed like the right decision to make, and an opportunity that I didn't want to pass up. And to follow in his footsteps and play on the same team that he played on was kind of a surreal feeling.
And this could be a legacy that continues because your younger brother is quite the quarterback in high school right now, huh?
Yeah, it's exciting for him. It's an exciting time, and I've been a resource for him to talk to kind of explain how the process goes and what to really look for in schools, kind of rewrite the wrongs of my recruiting and just kind of help him out. But he's a great player, and wherever he ends up is where he's supposed to end up. But RPI is definitely high on his list.
Taking it back to this season and this team. 2 games left in the regular season. You host Springfield on Saturday, and then you finish with the Shoes at Union. You talk about 1 game at a time. If things break your way, you could still win a Liberty League championship. If that doesn't happen, you could be an at-large team in the NCAA tournament. Does that at all creep into your mind that let's go out and try and really show people something over the next 2 weeks?
Absolutely. Like I said earlier, we take it 1 week at a time, and we're focused on Springfield right now. And, all those things that you alluded to, an at-large bid, possible co-league champs if St. Lawrence is to drop one of their next 2 games. Those things are all well and good, but we just need to focus on the task at hand right now, which is Springfield, which is a tough, gritty team. They're 4-4 right now, but they did beat Hobart. They're a 4-quarter battle type team, and they're gonna give us some looks that we haven't seen yet this year. So it's all about game planning, getting ready for them, adjusting on the fly if they give us a different look that we weren't expecting. But these next 2 weeks are pivotal. They're make it or break it games, and we're ready for the challenges ahead.
Well, good luck and best of luck the rest of this season.
Thank you very much.
Jeff Avery, the quarterback of the RPI football team, and coming up, a grounds crew at an airport with a choreographed dance. We'll have that for you next on The Edge.